Hi Flosstube, I hope all's well. My name is Kirsty, Crafting Kirsty here on YouTube and on Instagram. It is Wednesday, the 1st of March, 2023, and I'm back with a video to talk about the crafting that I have achieved during the month of February. I have got cross stitching, quilting, wool applique pillow, and some knitting to talk about. We've actually had a very quiet February with regards to we haven't really done anything at all. We were due to go away for a weekend. That got cancelled because we had to do some work. And I've also had quite a sort of flat February crafting wise. I don't know why. I hit the ground running in January, and I think I might have peaked. That could be it for the rest of the year. We shall see. But yeah, it's something I'll discuss as I go through showing you some projects because I know what's caused it. I think coming up in March, I am going to be busier. We are off doing a grand tour of the, Top Gun style grand tour of the 3 children at their universities. So we'll go to each, one straight after the other, and take them all out for a meal and say hello, because certainly 2 of them we haven't seen since January. It's Cheltenham Races, Cheltenham Festival Week. I am going for 1 day. I've had to reduce it down to 1 day because I've got a few other cross-stitch retreats to go to instead. But for the rest of the week, my backside will be firmly glued to the sofa watching it. So I might get a bit more crafting done this time, actually. I do tend to sit and cross-stitch or what have you whilst I'm watching that. And then at the end of the month, we are finally getting to go to the Essex Needles retreat. So I'm really, really looking forward to that. It seems to have been a long time coming. We had a stitch and chat day in January. And I sort of thought, it's only a month or so until, but actually the retreat's right at the end of March. And yeah, it just seems to have taken forever to come around, but at least we are now finally within the month of the retreat. I am there for all 3 days, staying overnight. It's going to be great fun. There's going to be a few people coming that I haven't met yet, who I know on Instagram or via Flosstube that I'm really excited to meet. And yeah, just looking forward to catching up with everyone else. Okay, so cross stitch, and this is basically where I hit the fence with my crafting. So I've got 3 or 4 small to medium sized projects that I really want to get completed by the end of April. I was getting absolutely great guns, and then at the beginning of February I pulled out Our Forest Embroidery Merry Christmas. Now this has been in my whip pile for quite a long time, and that's part of the reason, because this is just dragging. And I started to work on the letter I. So I've done the Merry, I've done the CHR. So I was starting to work down there on the letter I, and oh God, I was just absolutely hating it. And it's the fabric. It is the fabric. I think this is only a 32 count, but it's quite a tight weave. I do put it in a hoop. You can see the hoop marks. I don't normally use a hoop, but I do for this one. And yeah, I was just finding it really hard work and not enjoying it. And so I sort of put it down when I'd only half completed the eye. So didn't feel like I could stitch on anything else because I was supposed to. And whilst my guidelines for what I'd like to achieve this year are fairly loose with regards to, not Monday I have to stitch this, Tuesday that. It's just general goals of what I want to achieve. And I can break them if I want to. I don't really want to. So of course, because I wasn't working on this, I didn't really want to work on anything else either. So I actually had quite a few days where I didn't stitch at all. In fact, quite a few days where I didn't do anything at all. I thought, this is just ridiculous. Pick it up and put 1 thread a day in. And if that's all you do, you will eventually get there. So I've still got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 letters to go. But, just 1 thread a day, you'll get there. And so that's eventually what I did. I just started putting in 1 thread a day, and it went quicker than I thought it would. And I finished it. So then I thought, well, just, keep going with this and start on the S. So I started on the S. I'm really quite enjoying it now. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. I am still only picking it up and putting, 1 or 2 threads a day into it. And that seems to make it more palatable. I just really, really struggle with this fabric. I don't mind stitching in a hoop, but it's not as enjoyable, and it seems to take an awfully long time to do what is quite a small piece of cross stitching. But yeah, so up to date, I've got the C, the H, the R, the I, part of the S. So I've got T, M, A, S left to go. And I think I will just carry on as I have been doing, just putting a couple of stitches on in every day, every other day, and keep plodding away towards the end and hoping to get a finish. So as a result of that, did I bring the chart? I thought I bought, oh, I did bring the chart, sorry. My Morris Dancer, Gigi R, also didn't get a lot of work on it. So I did do some bits, and then I hit this hump with the Merry Christmas piece, and then I ran out of threads, some of the threads for this. So the wheels fell off at that point. So I will show you what I have done, if I can get it into shot. So I think you'd seen the angel and things before. So basically, I came in and I did all of this area. So I did the berry bowl, the flowers, the bird. I brought that satin stitch border out a bit. So I had great fun doing that. I really enjoyed these satin stitch flowers. I mean, those are not colours I would pick out at all, but I love them. I love them all together. And I just really enjoyed generally working on it. And then I went down to this corner and I put in the stag and I've started that tree. And that's basically where I ran out of threads. So that's that. I have now bought the threads at a huge cost from Hobbycraft. I don't know why I didn't put an order in online, but I drove past, I'll just stop there and get all the threads. God, they're expensive there. Very expensive, I won't be doing that again. But anyway, so now I've got the threads, I can carry on with this, and I am really, really enjoying this. Still my aim to have it finished by the end of September, which I think once I get these other ones out of the way, when I get going on it, I do get going. But yeah, I didn't really feel I could work on it whilst I wasn't working on the other one. So there we go. And then the third and final piece of cross stitch, because I said I really haven't done much, because I pulled out the Christmas Witch by Barrick. Oh, sorry. So this Gigi R, I forget to talk about it every time. This Gigi R, Morris Dancer, started this as a sal with Elaine of Ellie Welly Stitcher, Penelope of Penelope _pins, Janet _Dodd, I think she is, or maybe just Janet Dodd. 1, 2, 3, and then Chris Bronte Stitcher at Bronte Stitcher joined us as well. And I'm trying to get this finished by September. I think Chris is also working towards that, definitely. She's got quite a bit more done than I have. I don't know about I think Elaine has already said she won't have hers done. Goodness knows where Penelope's up to. Would you like to send us a photo, Penelope, please? And Janet, I think, is plugging away. I don't know if she's aiming for the end of September or not, but she's certainly working. I've seen her working on it. And this is underneath hashtag Gigi R Morris Dancer Sal 2022. Sorry, so we all bought this at the Essex Needles retreat of 22. That would make sense, wouldn't it? And started it in May. So yes, I didn't want to not shout people out. Sorry, I was aware that I didn't do that last one. I should have done. So back to the Christmas Witch by Barrick. The state of this chart really indicates the amount of hatred I have for this pattern, if I'm not going to be too blunt about it. Yes, it's you can sit on it all you want as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, I started this, I think, last October with Elaine, Ellie Welly Stitcher, Steve who's Crafty Old Man UK from Crafty Stitchers Flosstube, and Mandy, who has just changed her Instagram name, and I can't remember what it is. I'm very sorry about that. I'll look it up and correct myself next time. And this is under the hashtag #WhatNoHashtagWitch. So I had got, the last time I picked it up, I had basically got the witch and I think the wording done or certainly some of the wording. So I've now come across, I've done the rat. There's just huge amounts of filling, but I mean, I quite enjoy filling if I'm, you know, in the right time and space. It's good. I've done the wording and I did the snowflakes. Essentially, I think they're what they're supposed to be, or maybe Christmas decorations. Just so I've just got this wording, the cat and the mat. So just the cat and the mat is quite a lot of stitching, but again, a lot of filling once you've got the outline done. So I can smell a finish on this one. So I'm quite pleased about this. This is being stitched on a piece of, it's either 32 count or 28 count fabric from Coffee Craft Fabrics. And it didn't have a name. So yeah, but I think it's a fantastic fabric, particularly for this piece. So yeah, so I'm actually, you know, at the end of the month, I'm quite pleased at what I've achieved on that, and then I'm so close to a finish. So that is actually all I've stitched this month. I have this morning, just so I had something a little bit extra to show you, I turned into pillows but not stuffed these pieces, which I stitched this summer. And they've just got blue and white stripy. I actually bought this. This was part of a set from Hobbycraft to make a sort of summer bag with. I've never made the bag, so I've just taken the fabric out of it. I know you want to see the front stuff. So you've got the lighthouse, the crab. I haven't stuffed them because I ran out of stuffing. I was going to go and get it this morning, and then I thought, oh, do you know what? Just show them as they are. It will look stuffed the next time you see them. You'll just have to imagine it. Submarine and the mermaid. And as I said, these are all stripy, and I made no conscious decision about which way the stripes were going to go. It's just the way that I cut the fabric. So at least that is something out of my bag of shame. All I've got to do is stuff it and close it up, which won't take me 2 minutes. So yeah, so as I said, a bit of a flat month for cross stitching. The only other thing I suppose that I have done is that I've reorganized all of my crafting stuff. So it's one of those, I'm decorating the lounge, therefore everything has to be reorganized in the rest of the house scenarios. And so we had a set of shelves on the wall in the lounge just full of all the games, books, stuff. And I've taken those out of there, put them into my eldest daughter's room because she has, to all intents and purposes, moved out. And I've sort of amalgamated everything in there because I did have it in various areas around the house and in various drawers that I knew that John would never look in. And of course now I've put it all onto one shelf, all onto the shelves, and he sort of walked past and gone, oh. I said, just shut the door and keep on walking, you'll be fine. I don't actually have that much stuff in comparison to a lot of other people, but you know, he's never seen it all in one place. so I've got, that took 2 or 3 days by the time because I then went through all of my charts and I've put a stack together that I'll take to the Essex Needles retreat that I'm, you know, either giving away or selling away. A ditto with the fabric. Yeah, I've just organised it all. So that has been accomplished within my cross stitching section, I'm going to say. So that's it for cross stitching. I will next month, or this month, obviously carry on with Gigi R, try and get the witch finished. I still have, well, I'll obviously keep plodding away on the Merry Christmas. I still have the Bounty sampler from Autumn Bounty from Plum Street Samplers, and my Christmas pudding. So hopefully I'll get 1, if not 2 finishes. Hopefully. So now I'm going to go on to quilting. And again, whilst I've done some, I haven't done huge amounts, but I know where I've lost time with this one. So in my quilting, I've done nothing on my Jane Austen coverlet. That's no further forwards. I will get back to concentrating on this month. I did pick up my Lady Tulip, which is from Laundry Basket Quilts, and I haven't got a picture. I was going to bring a picture. Can I be bothered to start this again and go through it? 2 seconds. Aha! Back again. Sorry, I'm not going to edit, so you are just going to have to sat and done your own thing. Okay, so I have got a picture. So this is what the finished quilt will look like. So I ordered this from Laundry Basket Quilts in America. I chose the pre-cut version, so all you get, well, so you get the patterns, and then I had my pieces pre-cut. So rather than getting either yardage or fat quarters or whatever size fabric that they send out, my pieces were just pre-cut. And you're basically making three different designs per month of block, and 3 of those blocks, so 9 blocks in total. So I don't know, I have shown you some, but I'm just going to work my way through them, just if nothing else to bulk the video out a bit. So that's block 1. So I have 3 of those. Block 2, nice and simple. And I have to say, I mean, this started last year, finished last year. I only began it, I think, at the beginning of January. Block 3. You know, shipping wise, I had absolutely no issue. Block 4, everything arrived within time, even with our delays that we've been having over Christmas time. So far to date, everything has been within it that I have needed, and there is a little in each little segment there is packed, and Vicky seems to have packed all of my blocks for me, packed by Vicky, so thank you very much, Vicky. So that was block 6, and then I don't think you've seen these blocks. So this is block 7, all the flying geese. So I've got 3 of these, they're all identical. Block 8. Block 9. So yeah, so obviously this large square was just pre-cut. However, these you have to make the half square triangles. And there are a lot of half square triangles within this quilt. I don't dislike them, but every now and again. Block 12. Lovely, lovely fabrics in this. This is the Lady Tulip fabric collection. Block 11. Oh, there are a lot of half square triangles in this one. I don't know if it goes that way or that way. I can't remember now. I think it might be that way. Yes, this took a little while. Oh, I've gone block 11. Oh, block 10. Anyway, doesn't matter. Oh, dropped one, sorry. So block 10. So I think I've probably done, from about 6, so I've done about 4 or 5, which gives me about 15 odd blocks that I've managed. Really enjoy it. You know, when I do it, it is reasonably easy. I mean, it's obviously a lot easier than having to cut out the fabrics, and it is quite amazing. You know, they have got it, well, obviously they've got it spot on, it's a professional company, but you would expect a mistake somewhere, but no, to date, all has been good. So the next quilt, yes, the next quilt I've started, you'll have to excuse me, I'm just going to see if I can find a picture of it quickly on here, is the Caution Curves Ahead by Jen Kingwell, and I am doing this as a block of the month. And I've signed up to it. Caution, oh, can't talk and write at the same time. Just put the wrong thing in. Caution Curves Ahead, Jen Kingwell. Come on. Yeah, so sorry. So this is a block of the month, and I'm subscribed to it through the Sewhot.co.uk. And here we go. So it's basically, also I keep on jiggling. So it's basically curves everywhere in every block. but I really, really like it. And it's a mixture of, well, you can do what you want, but you can do needle turned, appliqué, you can do raw edge, appliqué, some of it's machine pieced, some of it's hand pieced. It just curves in all of the blocks. So I'll show you again. So I had the issue, when I first joined up, I decided that I was going to, because they also offered a fabric subscription, and you could go for beach themed or bright. I went for beached or beach theme. I didn't like the fabrics that I was receiving, just not to my taste, didn't like them. Nothing wrong with them, just didn't like them. So I emailed Sewhot and said, you know, I'm really sorry, is it possible to change my subscription? And they said, yes, of course, no quibble, yes, that's absolutely fine, but we'll just have to refund you for the fabric rather than change the whole subscription. And I said, okay, that's fine. So of course, the next month, the fabric came through. So I emailed, I'm really sorry, I asked to change my subscription. Is it possible to send the fabric back to you and get the refund? Yes, of course, please do. I'm sorry, that was just, you know, it's just our fault at this end. And so I sent it back, and bless them, they even refunded me the postage, which I didn't expect in the least. I hadn't asked for, I didn't expect it. You know, it's an honest mistake from their point. I'm the one being the pain because I want to change my subscription halfway through, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, so I eventually got around to starting it, and I've decided to use a whole load of laundry basket quilts, fabrics, some neutral backgrounds, and then I think it's Three Sisters Rosewood I had a charm pack for. So I just started to, I think this could be block 2, but anyway, it's month 1. I decided to go for this one because I wanted to try a bit of needle turned appliqué. Watch too many American Flosstubers. Appliqué. Needle turned appliqué, not appliqué. Appliqué. Okay, anyway, I started it and I really, really like it. I'm just not very good at it, which is still an issue. So the first one, and actually I don't think the actual needle turn aspect of it, whilst I have the odd wonky bit here and there, it isn't too bad. For me, I am really struggling with the placement on the fabric. So you get a picture that you can put your fabric on to then, you know, work out your placement. And I do all of that, and then when I get to it, I've ended up with gaps in the middle of here, or this one's been, you know, so it's taken me a long time. And I wasn't overly happy with them, and I got to this point, and I sort of stopped, and, you know, these things were going off at the wrong angles. This was far too close, and this was, you know, there was differences in the margins here, so they obviously weren't placed quite correctly, and So then I decided to try again with some other fabrics, and I have got on slightly better with these, although that one looks absolutely dreadful. I mean, look, that one's just going off on its own tangent over there somewhere. That one's quite good. And again, that one just veering off to the right, and even this one's veering off to the right. So I seem to be getting a bit pernickety about these, which, whilst I'm not a perfectionist, I do sort of think if you're going to do it, you might as well do it as well as you can. That might be as well as I can do it. I might try again, or I might just, the only good thing is that within the placement of the quilt itself, these are all in different areas. So it's not like you're going to have 3 next to each other so you can see the very distinct differences of which way the leaves are going off at. So I might just pick the lesser of the 3 evils, and pick those and put them all together, because they don't even have to be, this is being done scrappy, they don't have to be matching. As I said, they're not going to be next to each other. But yeah, so I'm really enjoying the needle turn part of it, just really struggling with the actual placement on the fabric and getting it, so I can put the first one on and then getting the second one to butt up where I want it to be. And I think with the first ones, I hadn't flipped the template. Didn't really think I needed to. It was a fairly uniform template. There wasn't an obvious, I need to flip it. So that's what I tried doing with these ones, was I tried flipping it as I cut them out. Anyway, we shall see. I've been watching a lot of Jen Patek, her tutorials online. And actually, I think Jen Kingwell also, because through the subscription, we get to go onto a Facebook page. And I think she also hints and tips and tricks of how to do it. So in theory, I'm enjoying it. I just haven't got very far, and what I've done isn't very good. But there we go, we shall carry on. So yeah, so that was it, because this has literally taken me probably about 10 days of just fiddling and unstitching and restitching and then cutting extra bits out. And I was trying to fussy cut these first green ones, which I did do quite well. And then when I realised I was making mistakes and I had to cut more, I didn't have enough. But there we go. So that's the end of the quilting. So as far as quilting can go for next month, I will obviously need to focus on my Jane Austen coverlet quite a bit to get a bit of work done on that. Yeah, basically carry on with these two. I think the caution curves ahead, the hand piecing, I can probably take with me on various trips that we're off to do. Yeah, and that's about it really, quilting wise. So I'm going to move on to my, I pulled out wool applique pillow. So this is Country Folk by Brenda Walker. Well, Country Folk is the company, Brenda Walker's company, that's her design label name. And this is the double knit dating agency Draught Excluder. So I bought this as a kit from a quilt show quite a while ago and decided to pull it out. Again, this is where I ran out of the stuffing. There. But so far I've got to here. So I can show you the sheep first. So all of these fabrics came in the kit. He got slightly singed, I'm afraid, just there as I was ironing on, and he's got a slightly tanned face from where the, in fact both of them have actually, from where the iron sat a bit too long on them. They've just been out in the sun. So that is the front aspect. I just need to stuff this final end. This is the back fabric, which is absolutely lovely. And then you put the flaps over, or the flaps are within it. Now, up until the flappy part, I was going great guns. This was really, really easy. Fantastic amount of everything within the kit. You know, there was no shortage of anything, as long as you were sensible, but you know, there's no shortage. And then I came to putting it all together, and at that point, the fabrics just went a bit haywire. So I'll show you here. So this is the end, and I've put it together as, no, I haven't put it together as she told us to put it together. So this end went together as it reads within the directions. So when you take this end off back here, it is completely enclosed. So that's absolutely fine for one end. But you're then supposed to make an internal pillow, which I haven't done. I have just stuffed it because I was just getting fed up by that point. Supposed to make an internal pillow that you fit in at one end and should theoretically be able to put the flaps over at either end. Well, obviously, having put this together as I'd put it, like, I was thinking, there's no way I'm going to be able to fit it, or it's all going to be seamed up. There's not going to be a gap to put it in. So I did this end. Thought fine, whatever. So then this end I've been faffing around a bit more, and I've basically rejigged it, and I have now got it that I can bend this over and put the flap across the side to keep everything in, and once it's stuffed that will be fine. But yeah, so really enjoyed making it. I think most of the sheep actually got appliqued on whilst I was on the phone for an hour waiting to get through to the National Trust helpline to cancel my membership. Hour I sat waiting. And you know when you just get to the point where you've just invested too much time and you think, I can't. If I put it down, if I put the phone down now, I would have been the next caller. So anyway, but you know, the bonus was I had nothing else to do. I put them on speakerphone, so I just stuck all my sheep on at that point. The eyes I did using a stitch on the machine. You did actually get some felt and blah, blah, blah to cut out and applique on, and no. So I've just used I used a stitch on my machine to do the eye. That was quite cool. And then the mouths are just a running stitch, just a organic, homemade, just sort of a hodgepodge job. But actually I quite like them. Yeah, so that's really cool. I'm probably not going to use it as a Draught excluder because, as I said, I haven't made the internal pillow. So I can't really, I suppose I could take all the stuffing out and wash it, but I can't be bothered. It will just be a pillow to sit on the side as a bit of a decoration once I've got enough stuffing. So yeah, so I'm really pleased with that. Love this fabric on the back. I was semi-tempted not to use it, to put something else on, and then I thought no. So that is the Double Knit Dating Agency Draught Excluder from Country Folk by Brenda Walker. I think, does she have a website? I think she does. Excuse me, possibly have a website. I'm not sure everything's on it, but I quite often see her at the quilt shows we go to in this area. She has lots of really cool stuff and patterns. So that's another project out of the box, which I'm quite pleased about. So that was all I've done with regards to wool applique. Yeah, wool applique or ornament making. And so now we're on to the knitting. I've had an absolute disaster with my knitting. I think probably most of you that watched last time, if you knit at all, will know that I was having an absolute disaster, even though I thought I was doing okay. So I bought as a kit this gorgeous V-neck sleeveless sweater from gorgeous Alpacas. And I am making this one where you've got the sort of, rather than having the stripes, you've got the thick band of colour on the various edges. So because you do the front, you do the back, seam them together. So I'd started doing the back as per how I had read the instructions. And my concern was that partway through on the first row, you make one. And so that's what I kept on doing, and you can see the lines coming up the middle of the sweater there. And then it was getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and I was thinking, I'm not quite sure I've done this right. So I said that I was taking it to my quilt day because I've got there were some ladies there who are very good knitters. So they had a look, and to be fair to me, because this is an intermediate, so this is classed as an intermediate pattern, and I'm a beginner, I am a beginner knitter. But when I bought the pattern, the lady said, if you can knit and you can purl, you can do this. And to be fair to her, with regards to the stitches so far involved, I can do it. What I can't do is read the pattern. So, and it did take the two women that were looking at it, it took them both quite a long time before they eventually went right back to the beginning and went, this is where you've gone wrong. So essentially, row 1, you knit, make one in the middle. Row 2, you purl. And then it says, repeat rows 1 and 2, stocking stitch, until the work measures X amount. So I repeated rows 1 and 2. Row 1, I kept on repeating that make one stitch, which is where you're seeing these lines going off halfway up the middle. And one of those said, well, you wouldn't, if you were going to increase it, you wouldn't increase it that way, you'd increase it at the sides, which I had that thought, thinking this is quite a strange way to increase. Anyway, you would increase it at the sides. And she eventually went back, and because on these patterns you have your numbers of your sizing and amount of stitches. And it wasn't until she worked through and basically added up the stitches and went, she went, no, you only make one on the first row, and then rows 3 to 4, 3 onwards is literally just stockinette stitch. You don't add you don't make one. I was like, So I was so pleased. I got so far. I was like, I'd started I've done some work for the shoulders, shaping for the shoulder. So I said, so what do I do? Can I fudge it? not really, you're going to have to rip it all back. I was like, oh, I just can't, I can't. Anyway, she then said, well, look, you've got to knit your front piece, which is practically identical to the back anyway. There's just slightly different shaping at the top, obviously. Just knit the front piece, make sure you get it right, and then we'll see if we can fudge it to join into the back. She said, but I think you're going to have to rip it out. And I'm going to have to rip it out. I just haven't mentally summoned myself to do that yet. I just don't want to. So many hours of knitting, because I'm not a quick knitter. So many hours of knitting. So anyway, I have started the front. I'm doing it as the pattern calls for. I've managed to get the rib correct, because that was the other thing. I'd messed up the rib, which didn't really bother me too much. But I suppose it would be quite nice to have yet another go at making the rib and getting it correct. And then, yeah, the only issue I have at the moment, or I really should just take this off the needles, is that I then started using these needles, bamboo needles that came with the kit. And whilst I don't have an issue with bamboo needles, I've got, even though I'm only a beginner knitter, I've got quite used to having the circular needles. So you've got length to just keep on pushing your stitches down. Anyway, so this is now where I am at the front. I've nearly used the first ball of the brown wool. And that is DK 75% alpaca, 25% wool, speckledy grey brown from this gorgeous alpacas. Now I did go onto their website. They do have a website, which I will write down below. And I can't find this pattern anymore. But they have got lots of other patterns, lots of other wool. I think it's quite local to us, actually. I'm sure there's an alpaca farm. Oh, no, actually, it's Cambridge. It's not the one I was thinking of, but it's not many miles away from us. It's Cambridgeshire. So, yeah, so nice local wool with some really nice colours in it, actually. So, yes. So that's the start of my sweater. And all of this is going to be ripped out. And I have already ripped this back so many times, particularly down at the beginning, because doing the make one when I was new to it and not knowing what I was doing, I kept on doing it wrong, and then I'd just end up with a big hole and I'd have to rip it back again, and oh, I could cry. I'm not going to, because it's only knitting, but I really could. So yeah, so that's it. So knitting wise, I will just carry on with that. I did watch one of Stephen West's recent YouTube videos with a new pattern for a shawl, and it's sort of, I can't remember what he calls it now, but basically it's a block colour. So it's a circular or a half moon shawl, and then you have stripes of fabric with different blocks, and then different blocks change colour. Anyway, so I thought that looked really good, and he's got a really good YouTube video tutorial showing you how to do it, and I thought I can do all of that, I think. And I have got an awful lot of this acrylic yarn cone colours that I need to use up, so whether I do something with that, not at the moment, but that's just a pattern that I've seen. So yeah, that's about it really. I think, you know, I will obviously just carry on my knitting for this next month. And that's all I've got to show you. I'm sorry my things weren't fully stuffed, but it's a case of, oh, I can either wait until I next go past Hobbycraft and pick up the stuffing, or I can just get the video done. And I just wanted to get the video done, to be honest with you. So I hope you had a good February. I hope you have a good March. I hope if you're coming to the Essex Needle Retreat, that you get a good few nights sleep. Because we're going to party all weekend. I can't wait. Really looking forward to it. Yeah, I hope you all take care. Thank you very much for watching. Please leave comments. I do love to get comments and chat away to people. And I will see you at the beginning of April. Goodness me, so it's beginning of March. We've only got 10 months to Christmas. Woohoo! See you later. Bye.